All right, beautiful souls. Well, I am so excited to dig in today. We've got Lesley Logan in the house, and you guys are you're in for a real treat. I mean, we were just chatting offline, and I was like, we should be recording. This is such a good conversation. So I can't wait to actually dig in with her today. She is the world's leading expert on how Pilates changes your life. She is the founder and the chief Pilates officer at onlinepilatesclasses.com. She's taught thousands of students and supported companies like the Associated Press, Brand Builders Group, Balanced Body, all empowering these participants through movement and happiness through the modality of Pilates. She's been featured in Vogue, Sports Illustrated, LA Magazine, Bustle, and Authority, and she's been a live guest on BBC, Fox 5, KTLA, and CBS. So Lesley, thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to dig in with you.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I've been so excited to talk with you because everyone who we know through 6 degrees of separation has all told me how amazing you are, and they can't wait for us to connect. So it's gonna be great.
I know it's going to be so good. We were just talking about how the universe will align you, and then they'll align you like 12 different ways to make sure that you're actually going to connect. I'm like, it's like you came into like my stratosphere, and all of a sudden it was like 7 different people from other places. Like, you have to meet Lesley. I'm like, okay, I got it. So I can't wait to dig in. And, I'm curious. So what got you most interested in Pilates? So like just kind of, thinking about that modality, there's like yoga, there's HIIT, there's all these different ways of leaning in. Like, what specifically, knowing that this is like your passion, your purpose, like what you've really gone all in on, like why Pilates? Tell us about that.
That's a great question. And if anyone saw the tone, I don't know. Let me just tell you, when I was invited to my first Pilates class, I said to my friend, that's a BS workout. They can't do it.
Right.
It's going to do it's on the infomercials. We all know the infomercials are lies. So I really dissed it. But there's this inner voice. It's like you want a friend and someone's invited you to something. So the time of this is really important. It was 2005. I just graduated college. All of my friends from college moved away and got married. And I was I was not going to college to get married. So I found myself in a town I lived in for 4 years, but with no friends, so it wasn't I just felt really alone. And I didn't really feel like I belonged, but I really didn't know what to do next either. I just didn't have this connection. So I went to class with her. And here I was, this ex-athlete. I had studied to be a personal trainer. I wasn't using that degree or anything, but I had done that because I really was interested in the human body. I always thought I would be a trainer for an NFL team at some point. And so I had this dream. So I felt what could this do that I don't already know how to do?
Right.
And I was humbled in the first exercise. I felt parts of my body I never felt before. And I truly each exercise just got me more excited and more wowed with myself. And also, I don't think I could articulate to myself then, but I very quickly recognized later on that it's what it felt like to be in my body. I'm an Aquarius. I'm a hypermobile body. I'm always thinking ahead and thinking in the future, and I'm an ideas machine. So it is really hard for me to feel like I'm on this earth.
Right.
Totally. Sitting on your own 2 feet. Yeah. I'm I don't even know what that means. What do you feel when you're on your own 2 feet? What does that feel like? Right. I just couldn't understand that back then. And so I left that class, telling everybody I could to do Pilates. So totally converted in first class. And I changed everyone's schedule at work so that I could go to Pilates every single day. And within a few months, actually, probably I started to recognize that the more I did it, the more I had clarity and intuition about what I wanted and who I wanted to be with. And then a year later, I just had this aha moment in class. I'm working out. And I was like, I don't like living here.
Yeah. Nice.
So so then I moved, I made me aware, I got to work that day, and this girl who worked at the same company at different locations, I put my notice in, and I was like, oh, her location's open. So I called the bosses immediately. I was like, can I have her location? Instantaneously, without even understanding what it would mean to move to a different big city. So I moved from Orange County to Los Angeles. And then the more I did Pilates there, someone was like, you should teach this. And this is in 2007 when someone offered that to me. So I became a Pilates instructor in 2008. If you know anything about timelines, everyone, this is not a great idea to become a non-necessary service because the recession was hitting. But I just knew that Pilates changed my life. So I didn't even actually think it wouldn't work. I had no concept that I couldn't teach people this. And I actually got so busy teaching Pilates, I had to quit my safe job that I'd moved there on. And then fast forward, the more I understood about my body and how Pilates was helping me, not just with my posture, but with my mind body connection, and how it became this kind of movement meditation for myself, I really got excited about how it could change people's lives beyond just, aesthetics. Like I think a lot of us go into workouts thinking aesthetics are
Mhm.
why we're working out. Like, how is this going to make me look? And the more I was teaching, the more I realized it was bigger and beyond that. And so I started
Mhm.
doing more research on mindset, habits training, breath work, different kinds of things to understand, like, what did Joseph Pilates know? How did he know all of this? And, not everyone teaches the same way that I do, but I do. I'm very blessed to teach the way that Joseph Pilates intended his exercise because I was trained by one of his clients. And so I get to teach other people around the world and really help them understand that they can be their own teacher, because that's in fact who they are. Even if I'm guiding them, like, they're their own body's teacher. They actually know their body
Mhm.
better than I ever could. So it's really cool. That's kind of a long answer to how did I get into this?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. It's so interesting hearing you speak about Pilates, like, especially from someone who doesn't know very much. I've done a class before and been like, whoa, that kicked my ass, but on the other spectrum, like to hear about, oh, it does help with posture. And, I think back to the different, I guess you could say, even the postures that I was holding while I was doing it, I could see how that would have me like sit up taller and things of that nature. So as you're saying it, I'm like, I kind of wouldn't mind getting into Pilates even more. So like your passion is like rubbing off on me where I'm like, that could be really powerful, to
Yeah.
lean into. Yeah, I
Yeah, your posture is so important, and it's like
really like that.
it's much more integral than we actually think. I think we think of it as an afterthought. I think we think of it as like just something like our moms wanted us to do. But like Amy Cuddy did a TED talk on how important staying in the Wonder Woman position is
Mhm.
before a big interview, how it induces confidence. Like, it actually puts you in this confident space if you do it for 5 minutes. And what I thought is, like, so many people can't stand like that for 5 minutes. Most people
Mhm.
can't stand up tall
Yeah.
without their shoulders being in the ears or hunched forward, or their lower
Yeah.
back pushing forward, or their knees locked out, or them rolling on the outsides of their feet, or sitting on one hip. Most people actually cannot stand their own 2 feet in the muscles and their postural muscles. And so what I love is that Pilates is it. People think it's my ab exercise, and it's not. Pilates is actually what we consider your core, your center is actually all the muscles around your torso. So yes, your abs, but also the muscles around your back and your hips and your shoulders. So
Yeah.
anything that can help stabilize your axial skeleton, so that just like your spine. So
Mhm.
tailbone to the crown of your head. And then your arms and legs are moving from that. And the goal is that when they move, they don't actually disconnect you. And if they do, that's information for where we have some disconnects and some
Mm.
imbalances in your body. But your
Yeah.
body is supposed to be able to like move as one, this amazing unit. We watch animals move and we think it's this most gorgeous thing that is something unlike us, and it's not.
Right.
We actually move like them. We
Yeah.
should. Unfortunately, we sit a lot. So we
Right.
don't use our bodies to the way that they were intended. And so it's
Right.
really about bringing ourselves back to those movements that will help your posture, but also help you fall better, help you react better, help you. You don't have to, like, you shouldn't walk around thinking my shoulders need to be back, or my slouching. Like, the body is supposed to hold yourself up for you.
That's so powerful. So, what had you like thinking about? There's a lot of entrepreneurs that are tuning in to the podcast, which I think is so much fun. So, thinking about, you founded this online pilatesclasses.com.
Yeah.
So teach it or tell us a little bit about, you had the idea and then you actually birthed it. Like, let's start there. Like, because a lot of people are kind of scared to go after, like, they get the intuitive ping for their business. They're like, I want to do that thing. And then they just go on doing their day job or go on kind of living their life.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that moment when you like had this idea and then you actually birthed it. Like, what gave you the bravery to do it? What helped you do it? Like, kind of talk to us about that process that allowed you to actually birth that into, for all of us to enjoy.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I think I'll say, whenever I don't birth an idea rather quickly, or with at least activation and taking, step by steps, then it's probably not something deep down you want to do. Because if you
Mm,
really wanted to do it, you would just do it.
yeah.
And yes, you kind of say, oh, I'm a procrastinator, or, oh, I have imposter syndrome. I'll just be really honest. Like, I did not even know what I was doing when I was doing it, but I knew I could not do it.
Mm,
And so actually every day that it wasn't going was frustrating for me. And
yeah.
because I was so connected to, like, why this had to exist. Now, when I created onlinepilatesclasses.com, and we call it OPC, and then, our elder millennials go, yeah, you know me. When we created it, there was already two other on-demand Pilates platforms. So it wasn't like I was like impatient because we'd be the first. We were not the first, but I was really trying to figure out, I will be honest, like when my husband said we should do this, I was like, oh, there's already two platforms and I'm on one of them. So why would we do it? We don't really need to do it. And he explained to me that there are people who don't do them. And my people will want me. So I should really like think about that because I was traveling a lot. And so basically they weren't able to have consistency in their practice. And so I was like, well, that is kind of selfish of me. Like that's actually different. Like here I am so excited because they helped me realize my dreams to come and travel. Like they made me so known, and here I'm leaving them behind. And so how can we support them? So once he convinced me that it was something that we could do, I was like, well, how do we do it differently than what already exists? How does this solve a problem that those don't solve? And then it was very much in understanding, like, why am I doing this? And I want people to have a consistent Pilates practice. And I don't believe you have to go to the studio 5 days a week for an hour to have that consistency. I don't even think that's like that is kind of outsourcing your mind body connection to the teacher who's counting for you. Like I really wanted to like be this option that could be in between going to a studio, or if you didn't have access to the studio, if that was too expensive, or also like we don't need to work out for an hour every day. Like that is a misnomer. That is stuff like this. There's a lot of misinformation about what working out is for women and like how long we should be doing it. And some of that's because they don't study anything, but that's a different day. So I had so much clarity around like why this has to exist and how it solves their problems, that because I knew that information, I had to get it out there and I didn't stall. And the other thing is like your life might be too comfortable. So you may need to be like looking at things, because if it's too comfortable for you to like take risks, then like we have to make your why and your understand why you're doing it bigger, so that your actual current life is a little uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me to like sit around and like wait another day for that to launch. Now, when I'll say this, we launched and it's not like we had members like out, like all everywhere pounding pavement and like breaking the website. We didn't, but I learned a lot in launching that and we did it in 2017. So I had plenty of time before people went online in 2020 to like really hone in like what we did and how we did it better. But like, I would just say, to answer that question, like if you're listening and you work for yourself or you want to be an entrepreneur, like make your why so big that you actually feel uncomfortable not working on it.
That's so powerful. I love that. So 2020 was probably a big year for you guys, thinking about it, like all these people at home. Do you feel like that was like a big year where you started to scale? Like what did scaling look like for you guys? Oh, okay. Tell me more.
No, I'm so excited to share this because I think people need to know, because I'm sure like, oh, she like didn't. She was ready by 2020. So you have to understand there was so much uncertainty, different than the recession. During the recession, boutique fitness boomed because people took care of their health. And the pandemic, especially in the beginning, there was so much uncertainty of when you're going back, and when all these things were happening, people just stopped everything. And a ton of people went online and started doing free things. So we actually did lose members who were only paying $3 a week at the time, because they were on some old annual membership. They're paying $3 a week at the time, and they quit for free Instagram workouts.
Okay.
And so like we actually did not hit the ground really running. But what I will say is 6 months in to the pandemic, then we started doing live events because people were lonely. And so even though we're an on-demand platform, we would do live events, and we actually got some of our members to be ambassadors and like and affiliates, and like gather their friends for a set time that I came on Zoom for them.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, I honored the ambassador, the affiliate, and we were like, hey, you should join, OPC, and we can do this all the time. Even though we didn't do classes live all the time, we did, like they'd have a community. We had a Facebook group at the time. Now it's in our app, but like we had a community where you weren't alone, and you had accountability and chat about things. And then what we, 7 or 8 months into the pandemic, it was more in the fall, I did a 3-day free challenge. It was like the 3 or 5 days. And that didn't scale us in a way that we had like sold thousands of dollars in memberships, but I instantly had 1,000 people sign up for a free challenge. And that kind of kicked off us getting known and people talking about us and more and more people. And honestly, I was just talking about what I did and someone on a news program picked it up and like wanted me. So like, it's just like being yourself and showing up even when you think no one's listening. And we have scaled slowly. So there's no hockey stick yet in the company. I wish I could tell you that's happened. I can't wait for that to happen.
Yes,
But
yes.
really what it is like we consistently over time just keep putting out really good product and sharing about it. And we get new members consistently over time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. So is that kind of your launch strategy now? Or what do you do now that gets new members into your space, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, we don't do any free challenges now. One, the word is annoying to me.
Mhm.
I don't think it's really, I think a lot of people are tired of like challenges. And I also don't know like how I don't promote weight loss because it's not a thing that working out can do on its own. And since I'm not your nutritionist and I'm not your hormone specialist and I'm not there every day to see what you're doing outside of the 30-minute workout, like I can't actually guarantee you any weight loss even in a month, like that's something that's very much personally based. And I say that as like, I'm not a unique person here. Not a single trainer out there can guarantee that for you. So,
Yeah.
so we don't do the challenges anymore. What we have found has been really effective is like doing one-off events that help people get to know us and trust us or trust the teachers on the platform. And then we put people into a 40-day trial offer that it's $1 a day. So it's $40
Yeah.
and it's a long runway, but
Yeah.
because people don't trust themselves with memberships anymore, I want them to build trust within themselves, like that they'll use
Love
it.
that.
And
Yeah.
so, a lot of people do 2 weeks or 7 days free, and we don't do that. We have you pay a nominal fee to show up for yourself and help hold you accountable. And
Yeah.
then we have an incredible community that helps you use it. And
Yes.
and that's what we want. We are not an on-demand platform who actually hopes you forget this membership exists. We are an on-demand platform that wants you to use it. We
Yes.
want our members to, even if you only take 15 minutes of a class, we want you to use it. And so because of that, we don't grow as quickly as like another platform that would be a third the price and have free trials and all this stuff. It's like, nope, actually, we are a slight investment. It's $49 a month, but you get all these things plus feedback on your form, plus accountability to show up for you so that you actually use the thing.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I teach on wealth energetics, and it's so true. Like I always give the example of like I'll sign up for free master classes all the time. It's like whether I show up is like maybe not. I'll probably double book myself, because it's like it's not a big deal. It's a freebie.
Yeah.
But if I pay $10,000 for an in-person event, my butt's going to be there early. I'm going to be networking. I'm going to be taking notes. I'm going to be in the front row. So there's something to be said about when you put your money in, it's just energy. I love this concept. You're putting your energy in. You're choosing to actually step into it every single day. And so then you're getting immersed in the community and you're starting to actually use the membership in a way that, like you were saying, we just want to be in community and like to be able to converse and connect and feel health benefits and in that kind of way, I think is so much of what we're all striving for and kind of wanting to get back into, especially after 2020. I think so much of like people just wanting to be together again, even more so, like appreciating that even more, whether it's virtual or in person. I think that's been really like, I've seen the uptick on that a lot.
And being around people who are like you. And so our membership is like mostly women and a few good men. Like, and I really mean like I think four.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I love it.
And it is, and we love them. They're amazing men. But like it is mostly women over 40 who are struggling with balancing all the things.
Yeah.
And doing something for themselves. And so when other women come going, oh, I had the most chaotic day, but I took so in this class and now I feel like this, people go, I'm going to go take it before it expires because we take our classes away every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so you have a new class every week, but the classes are only available for 2 weeks. So there's always 2 different options for you to choose from. So if you really love one versus another, or if you love me more than someone else or someone else more than me, it doesn't really matter. You have 2 weeks to do it as many times as you want. What's so cool about that is because it's going to disappear, you actually see someone go, oh, I love this class. You're going to do it before it expires. So you actually have a sense of urgency and hold accountability for you to do that. But also because you are repeating the class, you are comparing yourself to yourself. So if you had a bad night's sleep and you have a workout that's like not so awesome, that then you do it again the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, not only do I know it better, my body feels better, you can actually recognize that you are getting better. And Joseph Plies gave us this amazing order that actually hits all the parts of the body that we need, hits all the spine shapes that we need. And so what we do at OPC is just help you look at it from a different lens each week. We might omit some of the exercises, but you follow this order so that your internet fails. You don't have to go, oh, I can't work out now. No, you might
Right.
remember 7 exercises on your own. So you do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And like that's our goal, is like to empower you. You are your own teacher. We are here as guides.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, I love that. You know what's fun too, I know we were talking about this a little earlier, is your morning and nighttime routine. So I'm curious, I know that that's something that you say like really sets you up for success. It helps you really show up for your clients, the people that are closest to you in your life. Like, what does that look like? Like, kind of walk us through like the morning routine and maybe nighttime routine, because I know if there's someone listening in, they may want to add something or even just start a morning and night routine because they really are powerful bookends for the day. Walk us through that.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll share all the different things I do, and it might overwhelm you. Please don't let it. You have to understand I started with a thing.
Right.
And if you are wanting to build a habit, you need to start off with a thing.
Yeah.
You need to make it really small and achievable, and you have to celebrate that you did it. That's how true habits are actually made. Yes. So I'll start with my nighttime routine because I think the mornings start the night before. So my husband and I, we don't have a TV, so we actually do watch TV while at dinner. We sit next to each other and watch a show on his computer that we're both interested in. Watch one, and then we take the dogs for a walk, and we'll listen to either a book on Audible together that we're both like into, or we'll listen to a podcast. We do not talk about work. Yeah. It's not allowed. And we do about a 2-mile walk together with our dogs. I drink a ton of water before I go to bed. And then at night, if I had an anxious day or I have a little anxiety about the next day, I will do breath work to fall asleep. Like that is part of it. But other than that, like I set my clothes out for the morning walk. The next, like I make sure that those are set up and I make sure my water bottle's filled. And that's kind of it's pretty easy. Sometimes I shower. It really depends if it's summer in Vegas, guys, because after a nighttime walk, you might just need that third shower of the day.
Yes.
But once it gets cooler, I'm like, we're good. So I will be really honest about that. I do have a very amazing skincare routine that I really love. That's super, super simple. It takes me 2 minutes, but like that is like ladies, take your makeup off, please.
Yes.
Including the eye makeup, like enjoy. So I really do, I do love that. So my nighttime routine isn't as strict, and it might have a few things that are added and are taken out, but skincare and getting good sleep is very, very important for me. Like I do not play video games or like stay up later. I really make myself go to bed because I really do believe that like you need to figure out what you need, how many hours you need. So that's what I do for night. My morning routine, I wake up, I'll often dry brush, but I do my cold plunge every morning. Yeah. And then I do have a bioidentical, so I take that in the morning, sunscreen, and I walk my dog for an hour.
Amazing.
So if I don't have a full hour, he gets a little shorter walk, but I walk him. And I really, I love looking for the sunrise. I love taking in what the sky looks like. I love just understand what the temperature is of the day. Like I just take it all in. I walk in a park that my dad walks his dogs in. So it's very funny because it's like, it's its own little TV show. People are like, oh, your dad was just here, or, oh, your dad's still here, or, oh, you beat him. Like, it's just, I mean, somebody, it's like cheers. Everyone knows who we are. But I do this lovely walk. My dog gets to like have his morning. And it's so fun because dogs are so present. They force you to be present. I can't like get obsessed with my work day because I'm watching him and I'm watching what's going on and I'm like really being present with the outdoors. I think it's so good to get the morning sunlight on. Then after that walk, I actually do a Pilates workout for myself. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's a full hour. That is very important to me. It's like morning. And the thing about Pilates, you can do it every day because it's low impact. And so it's really amazing, right? On some days, I actually have the time to do my red light and meditation, and those are great days. It's not 7 days a week, but it's good 5 days a week. And then after a shower, makeup, coffee, I'll start my work day. My work day does not start. I really try not to have a single call before 9:15 in the morning. Yeah. Like it's really important to me, and I try to make sure everything ends by 4:00 so that like we should be able to get our work day in.
Yeah. Yes.
We really should. But that's what I love. And then I will say I have like a midday routine after I go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week with my family. I have a PIMF mat I either stretch on or a
Uh-huh.
sauna blanket that I'll get in. So it kind of depends on how my body's feeling, but I do those self-care things just to kind of like, this is the end of the day. Let's ground down. Let's release the day. Let's get ready for the night.
I love it. And I love how you gave us so many different options that find the golden nugget as you're listening in. Like maybe there's that one thing where you're like, God, it would be so nice to watch the sunrise. Like, wouldn't that be nice? Or like even just to get out and do that walk with my dog, things
Mhm.
like that. Like exactly to your point, or, I have been thinking about the skincare routine. Maybe I do want to spend a little extra time. So I love that exactly to your point, start with one thing, or maybe you
Yeah.
already have a system, add one thing. If you were hearing something, or at the very least, just create your own. Because I do think
Mhm.
there's like, it's so funny. I'll go through periods where it's like, I'll do morning and night routine, and then something will happen. I'll travel and then I kind of get out of it. And then I'm like, why am I so irritated today? And it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't done my morning routine in like 3 days. Like, what happened? And it's like, oh, so it really does set you out to be like grounded for the rest of that day.
I do my very best, even when traveling, to do
Mhm.
a mini version, which is obviously my
Love
skincare
that.
routine comes with me, but I will like barring like actual sleet and snow, like
Yeah. Yes.
barring like
Yes.
I like it's a windstorm and a snowstorm at the same time.
Right.
I
Yeah.
will do a morning walk, if
I
even if it
love
only
it.
be 7 minutes. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's wasteful to like, oh, I don't have time for the walk. I will do however many minutes. I will walk around the hotel. I
Right.
will, I think that's really, really important. And another thing you can do is like part of just ground, like starting a routine is just look for the moon each night. Like go look
Yeah.
at the moon. The moon is really cool because you guys, it waxes and it wanes and it waxes and wanes.
Yeah.
And if you can actually learn how the moon is moving, you
Yeah.
can be kinder to yourself because
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be launching amazing things when the moon is getting smaller.
Mm.
You're actually supposed to be like winding things up. So I really do like I'll look for them. Oh, this is okay. So no wonder I've been pushing a little hard. And I can
Yeah.
just give myself permission. It's a great way to end a day. So you don't have to do as much as I do. And your self-care routine on your morning routines can be free. They can just
Yeah.
be like it doesn't cost any money to walk around the block.
Calling all empaths. If you want to protect your energy from negative outside forces and also feel more energized and focused, I want to gift you a 5-minute energy reset. This is meant for high achievers who are looking to optimize their time and energy and enhance their emotional resilience. If this is you, click the link below and thank me later. Enjoy. Right. Yeah. So for the person who's listening in, that's like, wait a minute, the moon, how do you work with the moon? So like, let's say like, what does that process look like in tandem with like business strategy?
Yeah. So I'm not as uh the team is willing to work around my cycle more than the moon
Mhm.
cycle. So I will say that.
Yes.
So my
Yeah.
team understands that like they understand I do not film during 2 weeks of my cycle.
Uh-huh.
We try not to put too many meetings on my thing, but like the
Right.
moon is very much like that. And those of you who don't
Yes.
have a cycle anymore can use the moon. So the
Mhm.
idea is that when the moon is getting bigger, that is a great time to be bigger with your projects. Like you're building
Mhm.
things, like you are working on that website, you're building the product, you're building the launch model out, you're built like you can be out there and you can be bold and be outside and like take up space.
Yeah.
But when the moon, after it hits full, it starts to get smaller. That is the time to be like wrapping things up, tying things up, finishing
Mhm.
things, cleaning things, or like, and also it's not that you play small, but it's like, it's okay to be more introverted during that time, to
Mm.
be just like a little bit more focused on like, what are the things I want to, what's the data that I've got
Yeah.
so that when I'm going big again, I can, use that. So that's how you can use the moon. Whether, especially if you don't have a cycle, it's the best way. If you currently have a cycle, using your cycle to determine like how busy you want to be
Mm.
is the best thing you can do for yourself, ladies. I'm not kidding. Like the moment I changed my workouts to work with my cycle and my filming to work with my cycle, it is really incredible. My entire team knows, and I think that I'm sure that sounds really weird because I have team members from all over the world, and I will say and like some of them, they're like in places where like I'm sure women don't even talk about that, in the countries
Right.
that they're in. I'm like, hey guys, during that part of my cycle, I can't do more than 2 meetings, so this is a
Yeah.
non-negotiable. It won't go as well. Can we move it to this time? So like
Yes.
I address that, but also like all these guys have women in their lives. And so if I can
Yes.
educate them in a little bit way and make it not weird and not taboo, like that's the best thing I can do. And so, yeah, I think that's the best. So if you don't have to use the actual moon, if you don't want to, you can use your own cycle. But the from the day 1 of your cycle to that day 14, you have testosterone, you have more energy. That's when your workouts can be bigger. You can do high intensity, you can do cardio, and you won't increase cortisol too much. So all of that, you can do big launches during that time, be on camera during that time, schedule your photo shoots for during that time. Like that's good. And then day 14, 15 till the day you bleed, that is the progesterone time. That means do not stress yourself out. So do not do workouts that are long cardio, high intensity. I would not put a launch there. I would not close cart in that cycle if I had anything to do with it. And obviously it's hard because with all the holidays that are in the world and like the seasons of your business, but like I try really, really hard, or I would make sure you have support that you need to get you through that. But that is going to be where you want to make sure you have low intensity, low impact, not too long of workouts, not too much screen time, like on face screen time.
Yes. That is so, I'm going to start doing that. Like I just learned something new. I'm like, that is amazing. And you're so right. Yeah. I think about the energy that I have like from 1 to 14 and I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm on top of the world. Like, let's do this thing. And then you're right. Like it does start to kind of like wean down. And then I do look at my calendar like, oh my God, I have way too much happening on this day. And it does correlate to kind of where I'm at in my cycle. So that's really, I wish they would teach us in schools. I love that we're talking about it, but like if I had anything to do with what our school systems look like, they would teach about our moon cycles. They would teach us taxes. They would teach us emotional intelligence.
Oh, they would teach us all these. They would teach us all these practical things you need in your life, and they would teach both genders and about everybody, because we need to learn that so we can have empathy and understand. And so my husband has nerded out because he can see the differences between me in the meeting on day 16 and me in the meeting on day 2. You know, it's not that I don't want to hear it. It's that I don't have the energy to do the whole day and take on like this life, like this business altering decision. It's like not so it just takes you longer. And what happens is that you increase that cortisol because you're like, let me step up to the occasion. I got to do it. And you end up making your hormone cycles even more dramatic. And so what we have noticed is in really understanding my cycles and really working out based on them, like I still go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday with my family. But what I do is like, depend on this, I won't run on the treadmill for 10 minutes if it's those last 2 weeks. I walk. And I will, if it's 4-time exercise, I'll go, I have 45 minutes to finish this workout then. I'm going to give myself as much time as I need so that I can do the same thing everyone else is doing, but I'm just going to take a little longer because you got to understand like what your body is capable of. And if my body's like, that doesn't feel good, I don't go, oh, Lesley, like you're not strong. I just go, yeah, I don't feel like doing that today. Okay. Like, it's day 18. Yeah, I don't feel like doing that today. So like really understanding that it allows you to give yourself permission. It's one of the reasons I love Pilates is I can do it every day. And like, I can be faster if I want. I can be slow if I want, but I don't have to like super change my whole routine around it. But will change for the entrepreneurs. It will change your business if you give yourself that permission, because like we all know there's pushing and pulling in the business, and pushing sucks. And when you keep your weeks the same every single week and you still have a cycle, you are pushing 2 weeks of every month. I know you are.
So true. So true. Woo, I love that. So, you know what I think would be really powerful to dig into is let's travel back in time to even like 2013. You talk about that was like such a catalyst for you. You know, like you were like, you were like, I was experiencing homelessness. Like my car got totaled. The place that I was teaching at closed. Like, but you were like, it's the best damn thing that's ever happened to me. How did that become a catalyst? Like, how did you kind of get yourself through that time? Because I know I've had moments in like a 6-month window where I'm like, that rocked me like to where like total Phoenix Rising, where it's like everything was stripped and it's like feels terrible in the moment. And then all of a sudden you're like, thank God it happened. Kind of, can you guide us through that experience of like how you went from probably like what the actual F is going on to this is the best thing that's ever happened to me? Like, how did you kind of go through that process for the person that's listening and is like, yeah, I'm there right now?
So I kind of blew up my life a little bit. I didn't really think I was doing that, by the way, when I left my secure, like safe relationship, beautiful home, like everything perfect on paper. What happened is I was in a not exciting relationship. It was just like, just not exciting. And like, when you look back, there's also some like definite red flags of like, I don't think this person had me as a priority, but that wasn't necessarily him on purpose. It was his own journeys that he was going through. So it just wasn't great. But everyone had told me I was in this great relationship. I was with a lawyer,
Right.
with this beautiful house on the hill with 180-degree views and like all this different stuff. But we fought a lot that had to do with things that were like innate to me.
Yeah.
And it really frustrated me because I'm like, I don't understand. Like people love this about me. And like, you
Yeah.
don't like this about me.
Right.
But I was watching He's Just Not That Into You on
Mhm.
his ADM
Oh
stream.
gosh, I read that book.
Well,
It was
while I
perfect.
was, oh, I read the book after we broke up, but I was watching the movie and I love the movie. I was
Yeah.
watching it and like, while reading Strength Finders 2.0, and in Strength Finders 2.0, it says like people always focus on their weaknesses when really they should actually hone in on their strengths and like go all in on those and then hire out their weaknesses. I was like, oh my God, he's always wanting me to work on things I'm not good at when I
Mm,
should be working on the things I'm good at. And then
yeah.
I'm watching this, like the movie's playing, and I looked up, I'm like, I don't think he's that into me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like,
I'm like,
wait.
I wonder if he knows.
Yeah. And right. Yeah.
I wonder if he knows.
Yeah.
So I immediately went on like apartments.com, whatever it was. And like, I paid for a month
Uh-huh.
and I texted a couple friends and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to leave him. Can I stay at your place until I can find an apartment? I mean, all this different stuff. And so I like had this backup plan. I did a terrible job breaking up with someone. Like it's really important you know how to do that. I really didn't know what I was doing. So anyways, and then I was sleeping on people's couches while trying to figure out I was going to live in LA.
Uh-huh.
And the studio I worked at closed. So that meant I actually had no place to teach my clients. And so I'm like, well, now I got to find a place to teach them and a place to live. So I guess I should find a place to teach them first, because then I can find a place to
Right.
live around that. So that
Yeah.
extended like the couch surfing. So I never had to like sleep on the streets, but I was without address. And then
Right.
I went to his house to grab something of mine and I totaled my car when I left.
Mm.
And so there, so,
Mhm.
so everything kind of happened, and it was really fascinating because I felt like I was outside looking in on every experience.
Totally.
And I
Yeah.
felt like this person who was like looking at the experience going, this has to be good for me. Like this has
Right.
to actually be helping. And I will say that the accident gave him an opportunity to, in air quotes, save me. So we could
Mm.
have this conversation. So he actually could understand that like this is the right thing. We had like a forced conversation weeks after we broke up. I'm like, can you see now that we're out of it that this is a good thing? And then it forced me to go, I have been bouncing all over LA to places I can afford. And I'm tired of doing that.
Uh-huh.
I want to not drive so much, and I want to live where I want to hang out. And
Yeah.
so I got an apartment, and I said, this is the last apartment I ever have. And
Uh-huh.
I found a studio that was about a mile from where I was looking at a place to live. And I was like, I'm going to go, this is where I'm going to live. And I can barely afford this, but I can afford this. So we're going to
Mhm.
make it happen. And I
Yeah.
got a great car, which I eventually got rid of. But like it forced me to just really go, who do I want to be? And how do I
Yep.
want to show up in this world? And if this is like this, I just like literally told my car. So like, if this is my last chance to live on this place, like where do I want to live and who do I want to be and how do I want that to look? And it introduced me to people in my life that were really amazing friends who like seemed
Mm.
like acquaintances at the time, but because I got to rely on them, I got to learn so much
Yeah.
about them.
Totally.
And because of those people, I met my husband. So that
Mm.
is why it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it really forced me to like realize how strong I was, and I could survive all of those things happening at the same time, and all of that money, chaos, time, energy, and just like take a step back and go like, well, what do I want? And you guys, I was sitting at Whole Foods after a therapy session, having
Mhm.
not had a shower yet because I hadn't made it back to
Right.
any place where I could shower. And I was training a team on the beach. So like I'd done a hot yoga. I did a therapy session. I was
Uh-huh.
eating lunch at the Whole Foods. And
Yes.
Los Angeles Magazine calls me and they're like, congratulations, you're best Pilates in LA. And I was like, did I run for this? I'm going to be paid for those
Right. How'd you
things.
get my number?
And I was like, what is going on? And so the reality is like that is why it was the best thing, because it really just
Yeah.
kind of, I couldn't be caught up in the things that didn't make any sense.
Mm. I love how well you were in that experience. You were like, this has got to be happening for me. Like that, when you really kind of took yourself out of the experience for a second, I think that's been the thing that's actually really empowered me when I've been in those like, what is happening moments where everything's kind of being stripped away. Is yeah, when I take a step back and I look almost like looking like a higher version of myself and just kind of like looking at my life,
Mhm.
what's happening, why it's unfolded, or maybe, maybe not why, but kind of like there's got to be something greater here. that gives me so much peace. And it makes me kind of want to hug that version of me in the moment too. Like even when I'm in my own like crap in the moment, that I'm like, I just want to hug her. She's going through so much right now. Like that's so hard. So to give myself a break as I'm moving through it, I think that's such a big one too. And so that's what I'm hearing you say too, is that it was like, you were seeing the higher perspective. It sounds like you were being kinder to yourself through that process. You were listening to yourself more. You were like, what do I actually want? Because I just checked all the boxes and then I decided actually this doesn't feel like me. It's like I got to that place in my life too where I'm like, I checked all the boxes and I'm so unhappy. So like clearly these weren't my boxes. Now let's go back to the drawing board. What are my boxes? Yeah.
And I say like, I love that. It's like, you get to go figure out what your boxes are. While I was couch surfing, I went to a vision board thing at someone's apartment. I made a vision board that was so much fun. I got to just start everything over. And I got to even ask myself, like, how do I feel about this? It kind of was like runaway bride. Like, how do I like my eggs? Like, I just kept, equating things to different things like that. And I also watched people freak out for me. And I was like, you seem really stressed out. They're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't think you are okay. I think you are worrying too much about me. We need to get you a hobby. But like, and I also, I'm not so into astrology that I know all the nodes because I don't. But what I did know, because most of my friends were older, is that you have a Saturn return and I was 30 years old. And I was like, yeah, well, they said that they're going to strip everything away between 28 and 32. So then I was just like, kind of take it all. Like, I don't want anything. I don't want to keep anything I'm not allowed to have. So like, just take it now so I don't have to deal with it later. Right. And that's kind of how I roll with the punches. I was like, I guess I'm not supposed to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I totally forgot about the Saturn return. That makes so much sense why everything shifted for me at that moment in time too, where it was like all of a sudden I was like, I don't like my job. Like, and that's a problem. Even at 22, when I first started working in corporate, I was like, I want to retire. Like, that's probably a problem, right? But I didn't take the hint. I just kept going and I kept climbing the corporate ladder and I kept getting more money. And it was like, I kept thinking it would get better and then I would like it more. And then
I was such a yes woman. I would like take every promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this job sucks. How did I get here?
Exactly. I'm like, whoa, I'm like working more hours. I'm like getting paid more, but like, gosh, is this worth it? Is this ultimately worth it? And I will say, when I became pregnant with my son, I was like, oh, this like, especially when he came here Earthside, I was like doing the passion project on the side. I was at the corporate job and then I had my baby and I was like, well, something's got to give and it can't be my sanity anymore. It's not going to be my baby. And now I have to decide between corporate or my passion project. And that's kind of where I decided something's got to shift. I'm going to go kind of like all in on the passion project. But yeah, that was all during that Saturn return. Now that you're saying it, it's like, whoa, what a wild ride.
I think it's so like, not that I use it to dictate like as a psychic, like what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I just go, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Right. Yeah.
And I have a really amazing friend who she's a psychology major and she's a second generation astrologer and feng shui person. Cool. So she actually takes some psychology stat and we're like, okay, the last time this happened to you, you were 22 years old. How did that feel? Do you want to recreate that? If the answer is no, okay, how do you want to go into it? Let's set that intention. And as you go through this thing where the stars are aligned this way that you've already been through, now you can do it again in a different way. So I really like that aspect of it. And I think that like, it's like a single woo,
Totally. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I like it. I love it. This is so amazing. And I know there's so many people that are going to want to learn more from you. I know you want to gift people. It's like, I think it was a 4-week mat Pilates. Yeah. Tell people about that.
So if you are wanting to start a routine of movement in one of those nighttime or morning routines, you can do Pilates in your PJs. Our members do love that. We created a 4-week free series. The first week is 10 minutes. The second week is 20, 30, then 40. And the goal is just to help you move your body and then like get used to increasing the time. Because what happens is when you have more energy, you get your stuff done sooner. So you start to have more time as the weeks go on. So if you go to opc.me/challenge, you'll see we have different challenges on there. Again, I hate that word, but at any rate, here we are. So,
right.
So you can pick the mat challenge. There's also, for those who have access to a reformer, because I know some people have them at home, there's a reformer one. I think the team also even put on something that's called Full Body in 15, which is like a 15-minute workout with a workshop on how to do the exercises.
Cool.
So every exercise that I teach, I have free tutorials on. And then if you like that 4-week series and you'll get invited to OPC, we'd love to have you. It's a freaking incredible community. We get live together once a month, and I film the class that's going to be for the next month. That's the long
Yes.
form. And then we hang out and we talk about our lives and kids and health and
Mm.
travels and what's going on. And it's so fun.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. So we're going to drop that in the show notes. So feel free to just scroll down. You'll be able to click it there. And then where are you hanging out? So let's say people jump in there. Amazing. Where else are you hanging out that people can
So
connect with you more?
yeah,
Yeah.
so personally, I'm an Instagrammer and also YouTube. So
Yeah.
you can talk to me on YouTube. You can comment on the class, I'm the one who responds. But Instagram, as an elder millennial, I just like it. I just think it's a fun place to be, and it's just my
Yeah.
name, Lesley.Logan.
I love it. Oh, so good. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, Lesley, this was amazing. I'm so grateful. Like truly like this, I feel like I learned so much. There's like a lot of like takeaways. I've been like mental noting this as we've been talking to just kind of lean into so much of what you talked about. And I love that you just embody all of that now. I know that that was probably something that you added, like you said, piece by piece, but that's been the ping I've been getting from the universe is like focus on, really honoring your body even more. So it's no mistake that we're talking right now too. And for those that are tuning in, it's no mistake that you landed on this episode. And I know that there's something here. Let it be that golden nugget, whatever it is, take that and start to really utilize that in your day to day. Whatever that one piece is, let that be kind of that guiding light for the rest of the week. That's always like what I want to guide you into is like, pick the one thing and see if you can implement it now, today, really let yourself lean in that way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're so grateful for you. If you had a beautiful takeaway, feel free to screenshot it, tag us on Instagram. We love hearing what your biggest takeaways are. And we can't wait to connect with you guys next week. Thank you.